Howdy there, folks. Welcome to Astroneer. I'm Joe Mama, your host. Don't you love my hat? Hey, so this hat is indicative of a particular event that's going on right now. I think the actual name of it is called the E.X.O F.A.R.M event. What that is if you look around the map right now for the next, I want to say 57 days or so, something like that, like 6 or 7 or 8 weeks. 8 more weeks, I think right up until about Thanksgiving here in the States, you're going to find these, which are called wild sturdy squash. What they're trying to do is encourage the creation of biofuels. So what they did is they threw these squash around the map, and you can see some of them down there, but I've been finding them mostly in the mountains, and it says hit F to harvest, so let's go ahead and do that. Pop. Okay, then we're going to get these seeds, so let's go ahead and pick up the seeds. Those are important if we can actually find them and not die in our pursuit of them. So let's collect these seeds. Oh, by the way, you're not going to recognize this area because this is a different save. It turns out that my previous save got corrupted or something. I don't know if it's a function of the failing video card, which I don't know. I haven't seen any symptoms of a failing video card just yet, but maybe this is it. Maybe the save got corrupted because of that. So I actually had to go back to a previous save, and then, of course, because the event is going on right now, all the elements of that event were loaded into this save as well. We've got these seeds. Now what we can do is plant them. So we plant them like we normally would. And then, as you can see, it's kind of shrinking and turning into another sturdy squash seed. Actually, this has got a lumpy one, doesn't it? There's a couple of different variations of the sturdy squash. In fact, if we go ahead and plant the other seeds, we might see those other variations. Let's see if we see any changes in the seeds. But anyway, slowly they're growing. And what this is going to do, this is going to turn into something that we can harvest after it stops becoming a seed. And then you see that over there, that large pumpkin looking thing that's surrounded by plants that can hurt us? That is kind of the heart of this event, is those cauldrons, I guess you could call them. Let's take a look. Where are we at? Knobby sturdy squash. Okay, so let's harvest that. Okay, so we pick up the seed and we pick up this sturdy squash sample. That is an important element. So hang on, that's still a sturdy squash seed. That's a sturdy squash seed. There'll be various sizes and shapes, but let it grow, and eventually you get big enough right there, round sturdy squash. Let's pick this puppy up. Get the sample, get the seed, and then what we do is we come over here to one of these things that are scattered around the map, and they're protected by these, they're just called deadly flora. It doesn't even tell you what it is, but we go ahead and kill it. And it dropped this thing right on top of my tethers. So, it's been such a long time since I played this, this save. Anyway, so it's kind of interesting to go back to it. So what we do is, you notice it's got these, actually, can we change it? Okay, there's a couple of different recipes. So if this is a biofuel refiner, leisurely calderangia, a unique plant species that converts certain ingredients into valuable biofuels. Output can be shipped to Exodynamics or researched for bites. And it right now, it's set up for squashaline. Gotta love the name. Squashaline. And in order to make that, we need 2 sturdy squash samples. Now, we can change the recipe. Depending on the plant that's nearby, we can do 1 sturdy squash sample, and let's see, that would be, what is it? Adipetrol. 1 mutant spiny Attica seed, so we can use those seeds as well. Or what else have we got? Noxathane, and we need elegant spew flower seeds. And what else? Squashaline. Okay, so just those 3 recipes. But right now, let's stick with the sturdy squash, the squashaline samples. So if we put 2 of those in there, it goes and does its thing, and it's going to produce something for us. And there we go. We get the squashaline sample. All right, take a look at this thing. Can we do that? Can we get a close look at it? There we go. Kind of looks like a little gas sample, but we'll go ahead and put that in our backpack. But notice, we can pick this up, okay? This is a thing, we can pick this up. Also, this is basically a large, or a large platform. I think it's platform A. And let's see, we go to E. If we excavate around it, we can pick the whole thing up, just like that. So we can actually carry this whole thing to other places, which is a very good and important thing. But we're not going to carry this very far. We're just going to put this right outside there. We don't need to carry that because I've already taken the liberty of setting something up for us. We've talked about automating, about finding projects to automate. Well, this has given us a fantastic project. And let me show you what I got going on. Before we explain what's going on here, let's take this proximity sensor right over here. We're going to do a thing. And I was thinking about this. How in the world can we make an automated system that can plant plants and then pick them up? How does that even work? Well, let me show you. So if we plant these, and I honestly kind of found this quite by accident. Okay, we're gonna let these grow. Okay, so notice these two squash have grown, but there's an obvious difference in their final size. So it doesn't make any difference as far as I can tell, but just be aware that they're not all going to grow to the same size. Do not assume that because one is small that it is not fully grown. But anyway, I want you to check this out. So if we plant them and then put a proximity repeater, how about that? So we can use the proximity repeater to harvest them, but it gets better. We could use the proximity repeater to replant the seeds. So right there, that sets up a very interesting option for us. Now if you take a look, you can see that I've got a little bit of a farm set up with proximity repeaters and seeds, and they're growing in there. And then as you can see, these automatic arms pick up the sturdy squash samples, and they put them right into the cauldrons. And here's an interesting thing. The cauldrons, or the sturdy squash samples, will fit into a medium gas container. And since the medium gas container can hold 160 units, each sturdy squash sample is only 1 unit. So it's going to take a little bit to fill this sucker up. But once it's filled up, we can actually put this on our E.X.O request platform, which up until now we've never even used. In fact, I think in my other save, I don't even think I built one. And in this save, I built it, but I never used it. But now an event is here. So what we can do is we can put the squashaline samples onto this rocket, either as individual samples or as a complete medium gas canister. Once it's full, well, actually it doesn't even have to be full. We can set it on there just like it is, and it will give us some things in return. And that's part of how I got this hat. Before my save went corrupt, I was able to do a little bit of harvesting, and one of the things you can earn by sending enough points into the E.X.O labs, to the E.X.O Corporation, is this hat. So that's how I got it. Now let's talk about this farm a little bit. You know what? Also, let's harvest these. Right? It's gonna work, right? Oh, there's still seeds, really? Okay. Wow, big seeds. They're still considered seeds. Okay, and okay, there we go. And I think the chunk has to be loaded in order for this to work, I think. Like, it's not gonna happen while not loaded in. And the same goes for, like, the science lab. Okay, now one thing I should tell you is, you remember in our previous episode we talked about automating science? I actually had to set up a science lab, a research chamber to research some science. I had to do that because it actually costs some science to send in a rocket. All right, now notice this seed right here. It's got the Astroneer symbol on it. Can you see that? This is actually a plump seed. Oh man, I didn't mean to plant it right there, but this thing is actually going to give us a whole bunch of samples. So that is a good thing. The only thing is I think it only gives us one seed. All right, let's put this seed down in the hole. And so I've got this set up. You can see I put it in a trough because stuff bounces everywhere, and I needed to keep it within one area. And the reason I need to keep it within one area... Ooh, let's pop this sucker. Yep, there it goes. And let's put the seed down there. Okay, did seeds go bouncing out? Yeah, I had to put it down there because seeds go bouncing. And when they do, they would bounce out of the range of the proximity repeaters, and I need everything to stay within the range of the proximity repeaters. Oh, look. And one of the things that can be earned doing this occasionally is a Astroneer sample. And we're going to go ahead and put that right there. This is not an AFK base. You cannot just walk away. This is going to take a little bit of input because sometimes the seeds are going to bounce into places where they can't be germinated. And if they do, you kind of need to pick them up because you only get one seed. You only get one seed with each squash, so at best, you're only going to replace what you've harvested. You're not going to increase your numbers, because to the best of my knowledge, I don't think you can get 2 seeds out of a single squash. I think it's always going to be 1. Even the plump squash is going to produce 1 seed. So, what we're going to do is put all of this into this chasm to kind of preserve everything. Now, every so often we need these proximity repeaters to go off, so how do we do that? So what I've done is I've set up this track where a railroad car just goes around and around and around, and you start it off. Here, watch this. You can stop it. Okay, then F, where it says start, just start it. And it will go around and around and around. About 5 or 6 pylons worth. And then I've set up one pylon with a trigger. And then it goes to this point, branches off, and hits all of these proximity repeaters at the same time. And that way, they all activate, they all pop, and then all the samples are set up. Now, here's another key. When you set these proximity repeaters up, they cannot be within range of each other, okay? Notice there's a range. They cannot be within range of each other, and they should not be within range of an auto arm. Now, except this one it might set this one off. Yep. Okay. This actually turns the arm off. We don't want that. So let's move this a little bit that way, so you can see it no longer lights that arm up. Okay. So you want to make sure these proximity repeaters are out of range of each other and out of range of the auto arms, because if they light up the auto arms, they'll actually turn them off. You don't want that. Also, the auto arms I set up with filters. In the middle, there's that one spot, there's that one little small storage spot, and that is where you put the filter. And for this, I just took the sturdy squash samples, put them in the middle of the arms. That way the only things that they'll pick up are sturdy squash samples. You don't want them to pick up the seeds. The seeds need to stay down there. They also, if you don't have the filter set up, they'll pick up the proximity repeaters as well. Obviously don't want that to happen. So make sure before you activate anything, your filters are in place. And so I had it lifted up to the cauldrons, and then the cauldrons are being serviced by these auto arms right here. So they pull everything out of the cauldrons and put them into this medium gas container. Now notice they too have their filters set up with squashaline samples. So that way they can't pull these sturdy squash samples off the cauldrons before they're done processing. You don't want that to happen. Also, if you're walking around here, you don't want it to pull stuff out of your backpack. But you know what? Actually, I've got this one right here. Pull it out of my backpack. Come on, take that out. Take it out of my backpack. Right? Is it not going to do it? There it goes. It's got it. Okay. So yeah. So that's how that works. And now, I could, I suppose, set this up so that maybe something could put this onto the rocket, but I'm not quite sure how to do that. Also, I am not quite sure... Actually, I guess I could put... What if I put the rocket down here and, like, built a hole and put the rocket in it, and then it would put everything onto this squashaline container? I don't know, it might do that. But, really, it takes a while to fill the container up, and when it does, it's no problem for me to come over and put the container on top of the rocket and then launch it. But another note is try to make sure this workspace is flat. Okay, try to make sure that this area here is flat so that there's a nice, good surface for the seeds to germinate on. I have tried making a channel, kind of like a V-shaped channel, and that didn't work really well. A lot of the seeds wouldn't germinate, so I had to change that up. Now, if any of the seeds do get lost, you'll just have to go out into the wilderness and find more wild squash, and then bring them here, fill this up. But you can see this is going pretty good. I think this is a great addition. If there's more events like this that can help you practice your automation, that could be really good. Now here's what we'll do. Oh, see there, one jumped out. This is just a testament to how much these things, how far these things will fly, how much energy they'll have. Okay. So how much we got? So if we take this, let's go ahead and put on the rocket as is. Just like that. And now if we hit F, the payload value is 1800. Okay, that's a lot. So I don't necessarily see the need of trying to find other seeds to make this work. That would complicate things. Let's go ahead and launch it. I don't know how to auto-launch the rocket. I don't know if you can. But we'll set that on its way. We could attempt to try to hybridize the recipes and put other seeds. But I'm not sure if that would work. Maybe that's something we can try next time, maybe? We'll put Atticus seeds or something down in there, make Atticus plants, and then we'll set the recipe of this so that it will accept one sturdy squash sample and then maybe one Atticus seed or something like that. I don't know about spew flowers. I don't know if that'll work. Oh, here we go. Now sometimes you can get things in return. In this case, apparently we get packagers and dynamite? I mean, we'll take it. Sometimes it won't always give you things in return. But you will unlock emotes and things like that, which is very cool. Alright, but really important thing is it brought our empty back. So that is very cool. Let's make sure we put it in the right place. Is that good? That's good. That's good. And that's good. So all of it should... Okay, yep. All the empties are put in place. Good. Or the empty is in the right place. Okay. I have a second one just in case. I have a second container floating around here somewhere. So I don't know exactly why the save got corrupted. But I tried it with different saves, and no other saves are having the same issue. It's just that save. And then I duplicated the save to see if it was something particular with that file. Or that, you know, chunk on the hard drive or something. And it turned out that even the duplicated save is corrupt. It's the information within the save is bad for whatever reason. But the other saves of this game are okay, including this one. I didn't make it farther into the game, but there's a lot more clutter. It's actually a larger save file, so I'm not entirely sure why that one save got corrupted. I don't know. Again, did the video card do it? Did some weirdness with the video card cause the problem? Don't know. But the reason I say it's something is weird with the video card is that I put the task manager on while the game was running, and then I noticed that the game was using the video card memory, the high performance video card memory, while everything was functioning fine. But then when the game froze up, the video card showed 0 memory being used and everything went over to the RAM. And then that jumped up to like almost 30 gigabytes and said something along the lines of, you're running out of memory. So I don't know if the card shutting down was the symptom or it was the cause. I don't know. So, but anyway, it hasn't happened with any other save, so I find that very interesting. But anyway, so it looks like I may have to come back with some more seeds, but all the cauldrons are staying busy. All the cauldrons are active, so I don't know that I need to do that. I don't know. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you guys exactly how an automated squashaline farm can work. And I think the hardest part of building this was actually digging the trench and making it, you know, remotely flat and level and uniform. That was actually kind of difficult. Even the leveling block doesn't really work because the leveling block aligns things to the voxel grid, and the voxel grid might not be level with the ground at this point. In fact, when I did it on my other save, it actually made a pyramid sticking out of the ground, which told me the voxel grid was not square at this point. In fact, it was very not square. So maybe you can pick the one place on the planet where aligning with the voxel grid will make it flat. Good luck with that. So, but anyway, yeah, this is where the automation is at for this farm, and I think this is fantastic. Oh, you know what? You might end up having to shuffle these around a little bit. You know, make sure all the auto arms have some. Again, it's not an AFK farm, but it obviously makes your job a whole lot easier. Just sit here, monitor it, look for Astronium samples to show up in there, which they will. You can redistribute the seeds to keep everything, you know, from clustering in one end or the other. That way all the cauldrons are kept busy. But do that, and you should be able to produce a lot of this squashaline or whatever it is you want to produce over time. Should be able to produce it fairly quickly. It does seem to be pretty quick. Yeah, so there you go. There's the E.X.O farm event. There's the automated farm that I've come up with. It's obviously, it can be scaled up if you have the resources to do so. And I'm not sure what the benefit is. Like I said, you can earn the hat, you can earn a couple of emotes, and then you can earn some resources from the E.X.O Corporation, but what's going to come later, I don't know. We'll see. But if you do decide to do other recipes, I can tell you that right here it shows what they're worth. And let's see, you have rewards waiting to be claimed. Collect rewards before the end of the event. So, okay. And here's a goal right here. This shows you the goals that you can work toward as you send more points in. But again, take a look. It says bytes. It requires 500 bytes to launch a rocket. So set up your science automation as, you know, before you start this up, because if you want to keep the science coming in so that each time you send off a rocket and you get charged that 500, you have that 500 to pay. Also, here's another point. It's going to cost you 500 bytes to launch a rocket, whether you fill it with individual samples, of which you can store 10. You can store 8 around the border of the rocket, as you can see that, or because there's 2 slots on top where this medium gas container is, you could put 2 samples up there as well. So you launch 10. That's 500. You know, it's a payload value of about, let's see, these are like 15 points apiece, so 150. That's not a lot. What we sent up wasn't even a full container, it was 2,400. So, you know, I would say fill the rocket up as efficiently as you can before you spend that 500 science bytes. And as you can see, we've got 60 squashaline samples in there right now, as opposed to just sending up 10. I think that's pretty much a no-brainer. So yes, efficiently use the rocket and load up one of these gas containers. And again, I was like, the gas container requires making silicone, and if you don't have the resources, because it requires a gas from atrox, I think it's not methane, it might be methane. It requires like methane or something to create this thing, but it's a pain in the neck to get the gas and then come back and make one of these things. So I thought, well, you know, for loading up the rocket efficiently, maybe it's worth it, you know, to make one of these every time. But then, to my great joy, when the rocket came back, it brought the empty container back with it. I didn't think it would do that, so that is a huge plus. So we can basically have only 2 containers, which you saw the other one over here, I think. Yeah, so basically we can have 2 containers at work and then launch one, and while we're waiting for it to come back, we can already have the second container receiving squashaline and being filled up. So there's that. But anyway, I hope this was useful. I hope you find this interesting. Just wanted to give you an update on what I'm doing with this event, and it was a great exercise in automation, and I look forward to doing more stuff like this. And like I said, I'm going to see if I can play around with the other plants and get an even more valuable payload going, because I mean, some of them are worth 50 points. I don't know if the like the toxic noxaline or whatever it is, that might be worth a good amount. That might be worth the 50, but there's one that's worth 35. I'll have to go back, get some more seeds. We'll see. Okay, so if you have any ideas, any other principles that we might be able to work out, to experiment with, any ideas, any complaints, go ahead and put them in the comments if you haven't already. And go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that already. And I'll let you know when I come up with another idea here that I can share with you guys. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.